TV.
Sunny summer morning, the sun was smiling in the sky. A little ant walked through the grass. He carried food on his back. He was working hard for winter. Not far away, a grasshopper sat on a leaf. He played his leaf violin. He sang a happy song. He saw the ant and laughed. Why work so hard when the sun is out? The ant looked up and smiled. I'm saving food for the cold days, he said. You should get ready too. But the grasshopper shook his head. He just kept singing and playing. The days got shorter. The leaves turned yellow. The wind felt cool. The ants worked even faster, but the grasshopper still played. Then winter came. Snow fell everywhere. The wind blew cold. The grasshopper had no food. He was cold, hungry, and alone. He walked through the snow. He saw a warm light. It was the ant's cozy home. He knocked on the door. "Please, can I come in?" he asked. The ant opened the door and smiled. "Come in," said the ant kindly. The ants shared their food. The grasshopper shared his music. Everyone was happy. From that day on, the grasshopper worked in the day and played his music after the work was done. Work when it's time to work. Play when it's time to play. Be ready for each new day.
Upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a sweet and kind girl named Cinderella. She was always helping others and worked very hard every day. Cinderella lived with her mean stepmother and two spoiled stepsisters. They made her do all the chores. She had to clean, cook, and take care of everything. Even though her life was hard, Cinderella always dreamed of a better life. She believed that something good would happen one day. One morning, a royal messenger came to town. He brought big news. The king was having a grand ball at the palace. Every young lady was invited. The prince was looking for someone to marry. Cinderella was very excited. She wanted to go to the ball too. But her stepmother said, "No, you can't go. You have no dress, no carriage, and no place at the palace." Cinderella was very sad. She sat in the garden and cried. Then something amazing happened. A beautiful lady appeared in a sparkle of light. She was Cinderella's fairy godmother. "Don't cry, dear," she said kindly. "You shall go to the ball." With a wave of her magic wand, the fairy godmother turned a big pumpkin into a carriage, mice into horses, and Cinderella's old dress into a beautiful gown. She even gave her glass slippers. "But remember," said the fairy godmother, "the magic will end at midnight." Cinderella went to the palace. It was full of music and dancing. Everyone looked at her, amazed by her beauty. The prince danced with her all night. He didn't want to dance with anyone else. But suddenly, dong! The clock struck 12. "Oh no!" Cinderella cried. She ran away fast. Her dress turned back into rags, and the carriage turned into a pumpkin again. But she didn't know she had left behind one glass slipper. The next day, the prince searched the whole kingdom. He wanted to find the girl from the ball. Every girl tried on the glass slipper, but it didn't fit until he came to Cinderella's house. The slipper fit perfectly. Cinderella married the prince. They had a big wedding, and everyone was happy. Cinderella's dreams came true, not just because of magic, but because she always believed in kindness and hope, and they lived happily ever after.
It was a hot, golden afternoon. The sun blazed like a fireball in the sky. Trees drooped in the heat, and even the wind was too tired to blow. High above, flapping through the shimmering air, flew a little black crow named Coco. He was very, very thirsty. Coco flew over fields, forests, and farms, but no water was in sight. His wings grew heavy. He landed on a dusty stone, blinking at the empty world. Just when Coco thought he couldn't go on, something shiny caught his eye. A clay jug sat beneath a tree, glinting in the sunlight. He hopped over quickly and peeked inside. Splash! There was a little water at the bottom. Coco tried to drink, but oh no! The water was too low. His beak couldn't reach it. He looked around, thinking hard. What could he do? Then, ding! Coco had an idea. He spotted some little pebbles nearby. Maybe, just maybe, he chirped. He picked one up and dropped it into the jug. Plink. Pebble by pebble, Coco dropped them in. Plunk, plop, plip. The water began to rise, higher and higher with every stone. At last, the water reached the top. Coco dipped his beak and drank it all up. Glug, glug, glug. Ah! He let out a happy caw. He had done it. Coco the Crow didn't give up. He used his clever mind and a little patience, and it saved the day. So remember, little ones, be smart, stay calm, try hard. You'll go far.
Once upon a time in a deep, magical forest, there was a tall tower with no doors. At the very top lived a kind girl named Rapunzel. She had the longest, shiniest golden hair in the whole world. A mean old witch had locked Rapunzel in the tower. Every day the witch would shout, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Then Rapunzel would lower her long golden hair, and the witch would climb up. Rapunzel spent her days brushing her hair, singing songs and dreaming about the world outside. She was sweet and curious, but felt very lonely. One day, a brave prince was riding through the forest when he heard a beautiful song. He followed the music and saw Rapunzel at the tower window. He watched how the witch called Rapunzel's hair to climb up. The next day, he did the same. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," he called. Rapunzel was surprised to see someone new. The prince told her about the big, bright world outside. They laughed, talked, and became good friends. Soon, they made a plan to escape. But one day, the witch found out. She was very angry. She used her magic to send the prince far away and cut off Rapunzel's hair. The prince wandered through the forest for days. He never gave up. Rapunzel also escaped the tower. She searched everywhere, calling his name. Finally, they found each other again in a sunny meadow. Rapunzel gave him a big hug, and her tears of joy brought back his sight. Like magic. They went far away to a beautiful castle where they lived happily ever after, singing, helping others, and going on adventures. Moral of the story: bravery, kindness, and true friendship can break any spell.
Once upon a time, in a bright, happy forest, there lived a fast rabbit and a slow turtle. One sunny day, Rabbit came hopping to Turtle and said, "Hey Turtle, you are so slow, I can run faster than you." Turtle smiled and said, "Let's have a race. I may be slow, but I never stop." All the forest animals came to watch. They lined up at the trail. "Ready, set, go," said Owl. Rabbit ran very fast. Zoom, Turtle walked slowly. Step, step, step. Rabbit laughed. "That turtle is so slow, I'll take a little nap." He found a shady tree and went to sleep. Turtle kept going, step by step. He walked past flowers, bees, and rocks. He even walked past the sleeping rabbit. After a while, Rabbit woke up. He yawned and said, "I can still win." But when he looked, Turtle was almost at the finish line. Rabbit ran fast, but it was too late. Turtle crossed the finish line first. The animals cheered and clapped. Rabbit smiled and said, "Good job, Turtle." Turtle said, "Slow and steady wins the race." From that day on, Rabbit stopped bragging, and Turtle showed everyone that going slow is okay, if you keep going and never give up. The end. Moral of the story: slow and steady wins the race.
In the middle of a hot, sunny desert, between tall, golden sand dunes, there was a busy city called Agrabah. The streets were full of people selling things, magic carpets flying, and exciting surprises around every corner. In this colorful city lived a poor but kind boy named Aladdin. He didn't have much, but he had big dreams. and a big heart. One day, a strange man in a long, dark cloak came to Aladdin. He spoke softly and smoothly. "Help me find something very special," he said. "It's a treasure hidden in the sand. Only you can get it." Aladdin was curious and brave, so he followed the man outside the city, into the desert. They soon came to a magical cave shaped like a giant lion's head. Its mouth opened wide, like it was going to roar. A deep voice spoke, "Only the diamond in the rough may enter." That meant someone pure and good-hearted. Aladdin stepped forward, and the cave opened with a golden glow. Inside, the cave was full of treasure. Piles of gold, shiny jewels, and glowing coins sparkled everywhere. But Aladdin didn't touch anything. He carefully climbed up to a dusty old lamp sitting on a stone. As soon as he touched the lamp, the ground shook. With a big poof of blue smoke, the lamp opened, and out came a huge, smiling genie. He laughed loudly and said, "You get 3 wishes." Aladdin's eyes went wide. "Anything I want?" he asked. "Anything," said the genie with a wink. For his first wish, Aladdin asked to become a prince. Poof! He was wearing royal clothes and riding into Agrabah with a big, bright parade. He wanted to impress the beautiful Princess Jasmine, but the man in the cloak was not kind. He was really an evil sorcerer. He tricked one of Aladdin's friends and stole the magic lamp. Then he captured the genie and made the city dark and scary. Aladdin knew he had to stop him. With courage and smart thinking, Aladdin took back the lamp and tricked the sorcerer, sending him far away forever. Then, Aladdin made his final wish. He didn't wish for gold or a crown. He wished for the genie's freedom. The genie was so happy that his golden cuffs fell off, and he floated high into the sky, finally free. Aladdin and Jasmine became rulers of Agrabah. They led with kindness and love. The genie went off to explore the world, and the magic lamp was safely hidden in the Cave of Wonders once more. And that's how a poor boy with a good heart became a true hero. Not because of magic, but because he was brave, kind, and unselfish. Moral of the story: being kind, brave, and selfless is the greatest magic of all.
Once upon a time, in a busy little village with stone streets and straw-roofed houses, a kind merchant was getting ready to go to the market. He packed soft, fluffy cotton on his donkey's back. As they walked, they came to a small river. The donkey stepped into the cool water with a happy sigh. The cotton got wet and soaked up the water, and suddenly, the load felt much lighter. The donkey smiled. "Wow, if I sit in the water every time, the cotton will get wet, and I won't have to carry so much weight. What a sneaky idea." So day after day, the donkey would walk into the river and sit down. He let the cotton soak while he relaxed in the cool stream. He thought he was very clever. But one day, the merchant noticed something strange. "Why is the cotton always wet and heavy when I reach the market?" he wondered. He began to suspect the donkey was up to something. The next morning, the merchant had a plan. Instead of cotton, he packed blocks of salt on the donkey's back. As always, the donkey walked into the river and sat down. But this time, oh no, something strange happened. The salt began to melt in the water, and the load got heavier and heavier. The donkey tried to stand, but it was so hard. He was soaking wet and tired. With great effort, he pulled himself out of the river. From that day on, the donkey never tried to cheat again. He learned that lazy tricks might work at first, but they lead to big trouble later. Moral of the story: tricks may help today, but honesty wins every day.
Warm, sunny jungle. A big lion was sleeping under a tree.
His golden hair shone in the light. Birds were singing. The wind was soft. A tiny mouse was walking nearby. He had bright eyes and a twitchy nose. He saw the lion and said, "Wow, what a big animal." The mouse climbed on the lion's paw, then his leg, then up to his big mane. Suddenly, the lion opened his eyes and gave a big roar. "Roar!" The mouse jumped and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you." But the lion didn't get mad. He smiled and said, "Little ones can be big friends too." A few days later, the lion walked in the jungle. Snap! He got caught in a trap. "Oh no," he roared. "Help!" The tiny mouse heard him. "I'm coming, friend," he squeaked. He ran fast and found the lion. He used his little teeth to chew and chew the ropes. At last, the lion was free. The lion smiled and gave the mouse a big hug. "Thank you," he said. "You are small, but you are very brave." From that day on, the lion and the mouse were best friends. Moral of the story: kindness and mercy are always rewarded.
It was a bright and breezy morning in the Wigglywood forest. Birds sang sweet songs, and sunbeams peeked through the leaves like giggles in the sky. In a cozy little treehouse, Benny the bear stretched his paws and gave a big yawn. Today felt special, but he didn't know why yet. As Benny got dressed, he slipped on his overalls and felt something in his pocket. "Huh?" he mumbled, reaching in. It was a shiny, glowing button, sparkly, swirly, and warm like a hug. A tiny voice echoed, "Make a wish, but don't forget to say, 'Please.'" Benny blinked. "I wish for pancakes," he shouted. Poof! Nothing happened. He scratched his head, then remembered. I wish for pancakes, please." Poof! Stacks and stacks of warm, wobbly pancakes flew through the air. "Whoa!" giggled Benny. "Magic and breakfast." Now that he knew the trick, Benny made silly wish after silly wish. "Please let balloons fill the garden. Please make fish fly like birds. Please make it rain ice cream." Every time he said, "Please," the button sparkled and made it happen. But soon, things got messy. There were balloons in the trees, fish in the bathtub, and melting ice cream everywhere. Benny tripped over a cone and landed in a puddle of strawberry swirl. "Oh, bear," he sighed. Benny had an idea. He waddled into the forest and found his friends. "I have a magical button," he said. "But it only works if you say, 'Please,'" they all shouted. They made kind, funny wishes together. A merry-go-round of mushrooms, a sky full of paintbrush clouds, a concert by singing frogs. Everyone laughed and played until the stars came out. That night, Benny snuggled into bed with the button on his nightstand. "Thank you, little button," he whispered. "That was the best day ever." The button glowed softly, like a lullaby in light. And from then on, Benny always remembered, manners make the magic happen. Sparkles.
The sun rises over Tokyo, the city wakes up with the soft feeling of spring. The sakura trees, dressed in pink and white flowers, start to bloom in the morning light. Something magical is hiding in the petals, a secret world that appears only when the first flower petal touches the ground. From one glowing tree, a swirl of petals rises into the air like a small storm. Then she appears. Hana, the petal girl. She is made of flowers and wind, with long cherry blossom hair and eyes as blue as the sky. As Hana walks through Tokyo, she brings magic with her. Lanterns light up with tiny fairies inside. Koi fish jump out of ponds and fly through the air, and people stop, amazed by the beauty and wonder around them. Hana hears a soft whisper and follows it to an old, forgotten shrine. Inside, she finds a sad spirit, alone and left behind by time. She reaches out her hand, not to fight, but to be a friend. The spirit takes her hand. Together they float up into the sky. High above Tokyo, there is a secret garden in the clouds. Only those with kind hearts can go there. In this sky garden, spirits gather, lanterns glow like stars, and cherry trees bloom on clouds. The story reaches its most magical moment. As the sun sets and the last petals fall, Hana slowly disappears into the wind. But her magic stays in every blossom, every breeze, and every time someone dares to believe in wonder.
Forest was quiet, bathed in moonlight. Tall, twisting trees whispered ancient secrets to one another as a cool breeze brushed through their silver leaves. Among them walked a small girl with starlight in her eyes, Luna, clutching her lantern and humming softly. Suddenly, a flash of light streaked across the sky, crashing somewhere deep within the woods. Luna gasped. A star? No, something else. She followed the trail of glowing embers, her heart thudding in her chest. Luna knelt beside the little robot, brushing away dirt and leaves. "You're not a star," she whispered, "but you've fallen from somewhere." The robot blinked slowly, letting out a gentle beep. Determined to help, Luna wrapped Starbot in her cloak and began the long walk back to her cottage. Along the way, shadows moved, curious and silent. The forest knew something magical was unfolding. In her cozy cottage, Luna tinkered by candlelight. Gears turned, sparks danced. Starbot began to hum, its lights growing stronger. That night, under a blanket of stars, they sat together on the roof, dreaming. The stars responded. A shimmering path of light descended from the sky, calling Starbot home. Luna smiled through teary eyes. "Go on, they're waiting for you." Starbot hugged her, then floated upward into the starlit stream. Days later, a tiny comet zipped across the sky and landed gently in Luna's garden. Inside was a glowing crystal, and etched on it, "Thank you, Luna." From that night on, the stars always shone a little brighter over her home.